Hello everyone. Now you will hear a brief retelling of the movie Independence Day, Resurgence. Enjoy the movie. Earth is at peace 20 years after the first extraterrestrial invasion in 1996. The Earth Space Defense, or ESD, was established by nations putting aside their disagreements. They have reverse-engineered alien technology and developed an alarm system against extraterrestrial dangers using the parts they retrieved from sunken spacecraft. The ESD maintains outposts on Mars, the Moon, and Rhea, Saturn's moon, in addition to its headquarters in Area 51. Unbeknownst to Earthlings, former President Whitmore continues to have dreams about aliens that are still observing our planet. He has an odd vision of a circular image with a line in these nightmares that he can't quit painting. Jake and Charlie are building a massive weapon on the moon base by dragging additional defensive system components. In the process, the tugs are unable to maintain the weapon because of an unexplained malfunction. Jake disobeys Commander John's instructions to retreat and uses his spacecraft to raise the weapon once more. He activates the fusion drive, which may cause the ship to catch fire, but Jake acts quickly to reposition the weapon before that can happen. Jian continues to chastise Jake upon his return to the base, blaming it for the error and grounding him indefinitely. General Adams receives a call for emergency in Area 51. Until now, the aliens they caught 20 years ago had remained in a catatonic state. Suddenly, they're waking up and trembling in their cages. Adams would like to talk to the ESD director about this, but he is not available. As it happens, Floyd, a controller sent by the government, is traveling with David in Africa. They see Warlord Umbutu and his rebel army, who are surrounded by extraterrestrial bones in their headquarters. Although they are not amused to see David, Catherine intervenes and reassures the warriors that David is with her before things get out of hand. It seems that Catherine has been employed here for some time, researching Umbutu's telepathic relationship with the aliens. David and Catherine see the lone spacecraft that touched down on Earth 2 decades ago. Umbutu says that the spacecraft lights went on by themselves 2 days ago, and that the people had been fighting the aliens that came out of this ship for 10 years. In addition, they find a massive hole in the Earth, which indicates that the aliens were attempting to dig into the planet's core but gave up when the mothership exploded during the first conflict. When the party gets inside the ship, David identifies the signal the computer is transmitting as a distress call that has already been answered. Jake chats via video chat with Patricia, her girlfriend and Whitmore's daughter, back on the moon. Patricia tells him that their buddy Dylan, with whom Jake got into a fight a few years ago, will be traveling with the International Legacy Squadron to the moon base shortly. In a flying test, Jake came dangerously close to killing Dylan. Patricia wants Jake to own up to his mistakes and be understanding. Dylan is the stepson of the First War hero Steven, so when the squadron shows up later, everyone is eager to see him. When Jake joins Dylan for lunch, he insults him, accusing him of getting in his way once more. Instead of being polite, Dylan responds by punching him, attracting John's attention. Before going back to his room to tell Charlie he's had enough, Jake pretends to be Dylan and says he just collapsed. Dr. Isaacs meets his spouse Oken, the research director who went into a coma during the first conflict, in the medical facility in Area 51 the next day. To Isaacs' surprise, Oken wakes up out of the blue and doesn't realize it's been 20 years until he notices how much Isaacs has changed. Adams learns in the meantime that they are on red alert and that the base on Rhea has been totally destroyed. David is eventually alerted to the catastrophe in Africa, but Catherine remains fixated with dissecting the circular drawings that are scattered around. After bringing them to his office, Umbutu shows him every drawing he created inspired by the visions he has been having since the ship has awakened. Umbutu has also deciphered part of the aliens' language, and the circle appears to be some sort of apparatus. When they see a swirl building in the atmosphere, everyone on the moon panics. This proves to be a wormhole, emerging with a spherical device resembling Umbutu's vision. President Lanford receives a signal from them, and David discovers that this sphere is actually a spaceship. David notes that this ship isn't the same type as the one from the previous invasion, contrary to Lanford's belief that they should strike first. It may originate from a distinct extraterrestrial species with distinct goals. Lanford allows the ESD Council to vote, and the offensive team prevails. Jian quickly brings down the sphere by turning on the massive weapon on the base. Lanford agrees to send a team of scientists to research it, as requested by David, but David is enraged that he must return to Washington, D.C., due to political considerations. Lanford declares in the open that they prevented a second attack on Earth. Whitmore becomes alarmed upon seeing it on television since he can tell the aliens aren't the same, and he feels compelled to alert everyone. Patricia believes he must calm down and have faith in the incoming administration. Whitmore gives his okay to go to bed, but Patricia discovers that he has left. Jake, in the meantime, is sympathetic to David's annoyance and wants to assist. He sneaks up on Jiang and takes a shuttle, which he then uses to go to Africa and pick up David, Floyd, Umbutu, and Catherine. Following a hard journey through the wreckage of the former mothership, they locate the sphere, and Jake and David prepare to take it back. To mark the anniversary of the first military triumph, the U.S. is celebrating on Earth. Whitmore tries to warn everyone by cutting off Lanford's speech, but just then, he falls due to a headache. While Oaken sits in the hospital room sketching formulas on the walls, he suddenly gets the same agony, and Umbutu follows shortly behind. A new alien mothership arrives on the moon, shocking the locals by approaching too closely. Charlie grabs hold of the shuttle in a hurry and rescues David and Jake before they are crushed. When Jake takes over the piloting so Charlie may pick up the sphere with the mechanical arms, Adam stops the celebration upon receiving the alert from Earth. When they're about to take off, they find that the mothership has its own gravity and is drawing the shuttle toward it after a few failed attempts by him. Jian launches the pilots and engages the massive weapon, but the shot is missed, forcing the pilots to return. Before the mothership gets too near and blows out a large portion of the moon, including the base, Jian gives the order for everyone to leave. The mothership returns the bullets and destroys the weapon. The mothership eliminates every satellite before it has a chance to fire, even though the ESD triggers the orbital defense system. Jake's spacecraft is dragged down by the mothership when it arrives on Earth a few minutes later. Cities start to collapse due to the proximity, as both people and structures are drawn up by the ship's gravity. When Jake discovers it wants to land on the North Atlantic Ocean, he must start acting erratically to keep from being struck by the falling debris. All coastal cities are ordered to evacuate by Landford, although some vessels miss the notice. When Julius, David's father, notices the ship approaching, he is sailing. When the mothership lands and Julius gets struck by another boat, the contact terminates. He phones David to warn him this ship is considerably bigger than the last one. In order to assist with the defenses, the elite pilots arrive from the moon, but Dylan is late and must see his mother helping a lady and her infant escape as she collapses along with the hospital structure. When Whitmore, Patricia, and Adams meet in Area 51, Oaken sneaks out of his room to attend. Oaken believes the aliens in the cages are partying because they have gone insane. Whitmore slips into a locked area and releases one of the aliens to initiate contact as David and the others come as well. Whitmore is grabbed by the alien's tentacles, and it speaks through him, stating, "She has arrived, she is all." The alien becomes enraged when Catherine shows him the circle symbol and asks what it signifies. When the troops believe Whitmore is going to be killed by the tantrum, they shoot the alien to put an end to it. The alien is largely unaffected by the bullets, but Umbutu breaks through and attacks with his swords. This large body is only armor, and when it breaks, the genuine little alien emerges, which Umbutu dispatches right away. A group of siblings who just lost their parents are attempting to travel away and find refuge at the shore. They find Julius's wrecked boat and the unconscious guy inside among the wreckage. They take him with them after confirming his survival. David learns that she is all refers to the fact that the aliens are a large hive whose enormous queen has just arrived when the Area 51 crew scans the mothership. Then, a live broadcast from beneath the ocean is sent to them by a reconnaissance plane, demonstrating that this mothership is also drilling. They appear to be chasing the molten core of Earth, and if they succeed, they would wipe out all life as we know it. Since they destroyed the mothership to win the first battle, David notes, there had to have been another queen on board the ship at the time. That seems they just need to murder the queen, not destroy this far more powerful spacecraft. Pilots prepare as Landford approves a mission to locate the queen. The pilots will fly cover for the bombers that will launch cold fusion warheads, which should pierce the hull and kill the queen, after the drones have flown ahead to deactivate the shields. As the pilots get closer, the mothership unleashes her defenses. The aircraft make every effort to avoid it and keep a defensive attitude, but the ship is too well defended, making it difficult to get to the top. Jake notes that their last hope is to board the ship after they've lost 2 bombers. Adams gives them permission to go and instructs the others to back them up, knowing full well that Dylan thinks it's risky but the only way out. The aircraft are taken aback to see a full ecology within once they enter. Whitmore informs Patricia the Queen is aware of their arrival as he wakes up at that same moment. Before Patricia can warn Adams that it's a trap, the Queen sends a special wave that disables all of the jets, so it's too late. Even though the pilots are starting to die, they continue to drop the bombs in an attempt to complete the mission. Sadly, the Queen is shielded from the explosion by an energy barrier, so it misses her. Abruptly, a second wave emerges from the alien system, so massive that it destroys the President's bunker, the Area 51 facility, and every satellite. The mothership then takes advantage of the opening to strike the bunker, murdering everyone within, including Landford. Shortly after reaching Area 51, the military chiefs appoint Adams as the next U.S. president. After presenting Oaken's drawings to Catherine, Umbutu is able to decipher parts of the drawings, which include references to an interstellar battle and something about stopping an enemy before it reaches Earth. Umbutu is made aware of this and learns that the sphere wants an ally because the aliens are also its adversaries. A few pilots, including Dylan and Jake, have survived the crash inside the mothership. Now, they must hide in the ecosystem to avoid being discovered. Using a special laser, Oaken opens the capsule at the base and scans the sphere, but he is unable to find any signals. Curious, Floyd moves closer to touch the sphere, and its smooth surface absorbs his hands. The sphere takes a few seconds to activate and release Floyd before it begins speaking in English, which it picked up from Floyd's brain. Simultaneously, the Queen determines to don a massive piece of armor after receiving a readout on her system. All the pilots can do is watch as the mothership's top abruptly lifts off to launch a fresh attack. The sphere starts out by describing how it heard the aliens' distress cry and tried to warn the humans, but the humans assaulted the sphere without first making any inquiries. The inhabitants of the sphere had previously engaged in combat with the alien invaders. They refer to the motherships as harvester ships as they go from world to planet collecting fuel-grade cores. The system of this sphere, the only one to survive from its planet, is the secret to advanced technology. The reason the aliens are afraid of this hidden planet is because it trains survivors from other destroyed worlds how to construct weapons that will destroy the invaders. Regretfully, the Queen can now monitor it because the sphere has been triggered. David notes that they may bait the Queen as if she has already baited them, if she is already on her way. By concealing the genuine sphere within an isolation chamber and using a decoy inside a tug loaded with cold fusion bombs to mimic its radiation signature, Oaken and David believe they can trick the Queen into falling into a trap. Adams explains he still possesses a radar vehicle from the first battle, which is all they need in order to monitor the Queen. Speaking with the remaining pilots, Adams and David inform them that because the satellites are down, someone will need to fly in manually to explode the explosives, which means that pilot won't make it through the operation. Whitmore intervenes and approves the mission, disregarding his daughter's displeasure when Patricia wants to volunteer. When Julius awakens in the meantime, he persuades his siblings to drive him to Area 51. But they're traveling at a sluggish pace and running out of gas. When they arrive at a petrol station, the driver has abandoned the school bus full of children, so Julius takes over and starts the bus moving toward Area 51 with all the children on board. The alien hangar is located by the pilots within the mothership. While his pals grab the jets, Jake rushes ahead to irritate and urinate on their floor in an attempt to divert the attention of the aliens. The aliens take offense at Jake's remarks and start firing, but the pilots of the aircraft take off and grab Jake before the aliens can harm Jake. The pilots have to make some further maneuvers to escape being killed as soon as the aliens start rushing after them and shutting the doors. Jake apologizes to Dylan in the midst of battle for nearly murdering him all those years ago. The pilots make it to the doors just in time to escape after a few near misses. As the attack approaches, everyone at the base gets ready. Despite her objections, Patricia chooses to travel with her father to assist him as she watches him go. Julius and the children board the bus at that precise moment, just as the Queen and her troops arrive. David sees the bus and moves it over to his sector for safety as the aliens and the base both open fire to begin a new conflict. The Queen is tricked into thinking Whitmore is the true signal when the sphere is placed in the isolation chamber. Before her father makes his sacrifice, Patricia takes her jet close to his house and bids him farewell. Whitmore sneaks into the Queen's ship and sets off the explosives as David surrounds the alien troops with a barrier to contain the explosion. The squad thinks they've won for a brief period, but the alien army keeps assaulting and the base's massive weapon gets shot down for unknown reasons. When the smoke clears, it becomes apparent that the Queen is still alive since she used her own energy shield to defend herself. The Queen starts chasing the children, so David boards the bus with Julius and the children so they can go. While the pilots attack the Queen, whose shield protects her, every ground soldier returns to the base to guard the sphere from the invading invaders. When Patricia realizes that there are just 6 minutes remaining, the boat crew realizes that the Queen lowers her shield for a brief period of time in order to launch an attack. Using this as an opening, she shoots at her point of weakness, shattering the barrier and leaving her exposed. Patricia uses her parachute to flee just before the plane crashes when the Queen attacks it in retaliation. The Queen then makes an attempt to pursue her, but just then Dylan and the others return and use her own technology to assault the Queen. The aliens locate the sphere within the base, where Oaken and Isaacs are stationed to protect it. They then communicate the position of the sphere to her Queen. The Queen uses her hive link to let all of her technologies fly around her to build a new shield, which causes Dylan and his crew to lose control of the jets. In their haste to combat the aliens in the isolation chamber, Umbutu and Floyd allow one of them to hit Isaacs. Oaken must bid farewell to his husband while Floyd and Umbutu eliminate the invaders. The Queen reaches the base with just 2 minutes remaining, at which point she starts pounding the ceiling in an attempt to get to the sphere. Jake has an idea when Dylan refers to the jet shield as a tornado. They should turn on the manual thrusters and let the tornado create a fire whirl that will drive them out of the hive. The pilots retake control of the aircraft and launch a barrage of shots at the Queen, pushing her out of her armor as she eventually breaks through the base and seizes the sphere. Just as the Queen eventually collapses and dies, freeing the sphere, David drives back, stopping the Queen's attempt to flee and almost catching the bus. The Queen's death immediately halts the drill and sends all of the alien spacecraft plummeting to the Earth, just as it did during the first conflict. As the mothership departs, everyone on the planet rejoices in the triumph, and Oaken affirms that everything is well with the sphere. David fears that Earth won't withstand another attack, but Oaken reassures him that humanity's next move is to enlist in the cosmic battle because the sphere has a training program on a shelter planet.